In the last video, we spoke about how 9 people from OpenAI left OpenAI to join hands and give birth and built Anthropic from scratch. Now, the real question is, how did they actually build something different, right? Because anyone can say they're going to do it differently. The hard part is how. And it starts with one problem nobody had solved yet. How do you teach an AI right from wrong? Now, imagine you have a child and you are teaching your child right from wrong, but you are not allowed to explain anything. No reasoning, no principles. Just wrong. Then you try again. The child does something wrong, you try again and tell them wrong. Millions of times. Now, in the world of machine learning, this approach is called RLHF, meaning reinforcement learning from human feedback. Humans will label AI responses as good or bad at a massive scale. The model will learn how to produce, but it will never understand why. And that gap, knowing what versus why, turns out to matter enormously in the AI world. Because a model that follows rules without understanding them will maybe someday find ways around those rules the moment it hits a situation you didn't anticipate. Now, why that wasn't enough, right? What we're talking about. Why wasn't that enough? Now, RLHF is slow. You need millions of human labels for every new behavior. It's expensive. Human annotators can, if you use so many human annotators at scale, that might cost you a fortune. And it could also be inconsistent because you encode whatever biases your annotators bring, whether you're aware of those biases or not. And it's sort of fragile too. Rules without understanding will always break eventually. You can ask any parent in this world. So Anthropic needed something fundamentally different. Not a better rule book, but a conscious. Now what I mean by that is, they built something different. They built an actual document, a set of written principles, a constitution, which they call. And here's the elegant part. Instead of humans grade every single response, they taught the model to grade itself. Write a response, read it back, ask, does this break any of my principles? If yes, rewrite it. That is constitutional AI. The model just doesn't follow rules. It reasons its way to values, built in, not bolted on. And that one distinction, built in versus bolted on, is what makes Claude genuinely different from most models out there. The values aren't a filter sitting on top. They are woven into how the model thinks. Now, chapter 6 is the training pipeline. So how does all of this actually become Claude, right? Like, how is a model born? We understand there is a company. We understand there is this whole thing about constitution for AI, which Anthropic has decided to follow. But how does all of this give birth to a model like Claude? So you can think of it like 4 stages are there, right? Think of it like building a person. There's childhood, there's school, there's conscious, and there's stress test, right? Similarly, in a machine learning life cycle, there's the first stage where the model will read everything: books, code, internet, learn languages, facts, reasoning, raw foundation, right? This is where you are pre-training your model on a massive corpus of data, right? Stage 2 is where humans are sort of showing the model what good actually looks like. They're trying to be helpful, clear, honest, right? That means that you might be doing some sort of supervised fine-tuning on human demonstrations just to make your model better. Now, third is this constitutional AI loop that kicks in. Now, here is when it's sort of a self-critique loop where the model learns to check itself against its own principles. Before Claude ever reaches a single user, there is also a stage which is red teaming and safety evaluation before release. So obviously, if Anthropic as a company has to have more customers, they have to ensure their model is robust enough, it's secure, it's safe. So what they will do is, on their side, they will perform red teaming activities or safety tests, throw everything at it, try to break the model, find the gaps, fix them, and, make the model better. Now, by the end, you have a model that is smart, that's robust, and then it is provided to you as a consumer, and you happen to use it. Now, you might think, why is she wasting time talking stories about Anthropic and how they gave birth to their company and the model? Like, personally, I find this way of learning anything new to be very interesting, where you first understand the origins of a company, their products, and then if you are using their products, how can you secure them? Because when you do that, you will have all the context that you need in order to be a better security professional. Now, here's what I wanted to take from these 2 episodes on the breakup story, so to speak, right? Now, most people interacting with AI right now are just treating it like a search engine, right? Which is great. Like, we're using it to increase our productivity. We are using models like Claude, GPT, Gemini, and others to boost our productivity, to search better, to get better research results, etc., right? But it's also important to understand what is behind that model, right? How was that model created? You have to question that piece, because when you know that, you would know what are the, at least what are the fundamental security controls that are already baked in. For example, I told you that Anthropic might be doing some red teaming or safety test exercises, and even at the training, in their training stages, they might be ensuring some security guardrails are already baked into the model, right? Without you having to do anything. So that context is very important. Now, after you have the full model as an output and you are using it, what are some security controls that you have to apply? That is something we will surely cover in the upcoming episodes of AI Under the Hood series. It says that you have to question everything, okay? You also have to learn how you can deploy a model, like how you can consume it, and how the models are made available to end users. And you also think what could potentially go wrong, right? And then there's this security layer, the governance, the runtime, the agentic systems, right? Which are all sort of like also important to understand along with what we are doing today. Now, all of this is something that I plan to cover in my upcoming videos, and that is all about the breakup episode. Both parts are complete. We went from the story of a non-profit in 2015 to a four-stage AI training pipeline that produces one of the most widely deployed AI models in enterprises today. Now, episode 2 is called The Race Nobody Wanted. We will try to do some research on different podcasts from Anthropic or different reports they have published, and let's see how they what they think about their models. And it'll be a strange episode, but I think you will like it. Stay tuned. I will share more about that episode in the coming weeks as I shoot it. Subscribe so that you don't miss it. Again, this is the end of episode 1. Happy learning. Please subscribe.